We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off this fucking neck. Let me shoot you. Can't fucking breathe. Let me shoot you. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports, and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. If it's Thursday, it's I'm No Joe. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I have got a glorious panel here with me to help break down the shit talking and shenanigans that have shaken down the pipeline since we saw you fine folks last. We will get into all the fine fuckery that is afoot and all the things 285 in due time. Relax, breathe, woosah. We'll get there, I promise. First and foremost, though, before we get into any of this nonsense, gentlemen, how the fuck are you doing this fine evening?
We're doing pretty good. I mean, it's been a busy week. It's going to be a busy weekend, but excited Excited for the fights. Praying to the MMA gods that we get some tickets to next month's fights here in Kansas City.
Right.
Oh yeah. Fucking best card we've had so far this year, bar none, in my opinion. So finally something to look forward to this week, and it's a good card anytime that you've got two belts on the line, albeit one of them not really disputed at the moment, but still two title fights, and we get to watch Valentina this weekend. So what's not to love?
That's right. Chevy truck gonna roll on through, but like I said, we'll get to all that in due time here. First and foremost, as we like to do around here to kick things off in the beginning, we will do a little bit of news and recent events. Now, ironically enough, coming into the most anticipated pay-per-view of 2023 so far, the news tree has actually been pretty fucking calm this week. There has not been a whole lot of shaking. Ironically enough, the stories that did shake loose, we'll get into it in just a little bit. First and foremost, as I said, this season we are not doing a recap show. If you would like to know about the crazy shit that happens live, keep an eye over on the shorts tab of the I'm No Joe YouTube channel. If something cool happens, we throw up a short reaction from one of us to it, immediate, live, in the moment, so you can see exactly how we think about how shit played out. That being said, though, there was something that did need to be mentioned about last week's card that we literally just didn't have a way to possibly know about. Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann never actually happened. And not only did it not happen, it actually got canceled during UFC Vegas 70s card taking place. Nikita Krylov apparently was still trying to get cleared by medical staff up till and including the beginning of the card itself, and then inevitably ended up not being cleared and taken to the hospital because of illness. But they literally started the card and proceeded like things were going to happen as normal. And then I think it was right after either the first fight or the second fight, they came in and broke through with the quote unquote sad news, and then brought the little Megan O'Leary reel out and told everybody about it. So hopefully Krylov is all well and good, and it's nothing serious, nothing life-threatening, and they can just get this fight rebooked in a couple weeks while everybody's still in shape. We can get right back to it and no big deal. But that was one of those things that it kind of really got swept under the rug with all the hype for 285 coming up and the craziness of some of the finishes from last weekend's card. The fact that the main event got canceled during the fucking prelims has just kind of gotten tossed by the wayside a little bit. So it does warrant mentioning that literally during the fucking card, Nikita Krylov was still fighting with the UFC medical staff to try and get cleared so he could fight, and it just inevitably never happened. So, hats off. Obviously, it's not anything that was intended or intentional. So hopefully we get it booked back and we get to run that one back again, because that did kind of suck. And it, not like that card needed any more bad juju thrown on it to begin with, but it didn't fucking help anything. That's for damn sure. That being said, going into some of the announcements going forward here, we did get in, I'll say probably the most interesting one they've given us so far this year, unquestionably, as of right now, unless something changes, probably the biggest one they're going to announce, PFL 2, their second season event, I guess you would call it a regular season event, is taking place April 7th. There we go. From the Virgin Theater in Las Vegas, where the UFC is also going to be doing a couple of shows as well at some point during this year. As with the PFL, not a whole lot to be terribly excited about, but there are a couple names on this card, both making their debut and returning, that the average folk will or should at least recognize and be familiar with. And if not, I'm telling you now, at least these couple fights will be worth tuning into. The crochet boss himself, Maurice Green, getting back into action on the prelims over there, as well as one Aspen Ladd, who has been signed by PFL, and they're trying to make her the new face. So we'll see if she can actually do what they think she's capable of. Both of them making their appearances on the prelim card, and then the main card has two very interesting matchups in the co-main event the debut of Julia Budd, fresh out of Bellator, taking on Larissa Pacheco, the woman who just most recently handed Kayla her first professional loss. So if Julia Budd comes in here and shines against Larissa, that can put Julia right back in the fucking spotlight where I believe she deserves to fucking be. Scott Coker just kind of got cyborg eyes all of a sudden when she became a free agent, and we saw where that fucking went. So hopefully Julia Budd gets her fair shake over here. I think she can be a genuine, legitimate threat to Larissa Pacheco. Pacheco is good, but I think Julia Budd is better, and this could be her chance to shine and get right back into that 5 minutes of fame. The one I don't quite understand, though, is their main event. Ante Delija taking on Jorgen De Castro at heavyweight. Even just on paper, the Pacheco Bud fight is leagues above that fucking Jorgen De Castro matchup. But, you know, as we say, PFL is going to PFL. It's going to be an interesting event, and because the PFL does seasons and tournaments and playoffs and more like a traditional sport style scheduling throughout their year, it is going to be interesting to see how these events play out, because different types of finishes do result in different point variations over in PFL. It's how they determine their playoffs as well. So it's interesting to see how they're actually starting to get a little bit more momentum than I originally anticipated, and I think a lot of people anticipated they would. But you know, when you throw $1 million out per division every year, you're going to start getting attention. So we'll see how it shakes loose. This being the second event of PFL for the year, not the worst lineup they could have thrown out there. So we'll see how it actually plays out as April gets a little bit closer. One thing in pertaining to this weekend's event, another one of those things that's just kind of getting swept under the rug, and I'm not 100% certain why, being as how we have got the heavyweight title on the line this weekend, and the UFC does not like for title fights to go astray, even if something happens at the last moment. We have gotten our official backup for this weekend for the JonesVsGane heavyweight battle, and a lot of folks might be surprised at who it is, but a lot of us who've been paying attention are not. One gigantic Sergey Pavlovich is officially weighing in tomorrow morning with the rest of the boys, should his services be needed, to serve as the backup for the heavyweight main event Saturday evening.
Dude,
I am 100% on board with that. I don't know why people aren't talking about that.
I had a crazy inkling about that a couple of weeks ago, thinking, you know, the way he's been tearing through motherfuckers,
Yeah.
I was like, that's almost a no-brainer to have him as the backup there.
It sure makes fucking sense, because he's on the short list for the next guy up against the winner, regardless of if his services are needed tomorrow or not. He's in that conversation of the short list of people who deserve the next shot. So I agree. He 100% deserves to be that backup spot. If Stipe is going to sit on the sidelines and wait for an actual contract, yeah, let Pavlovich take that backup spot and catch that fucking show money just for weighing in.
To be honest, as long as he makes weight and doesn't pull at Anthony Smith,
right?
It's weird to say that, but as long as he doesn't pull an Anthony Smith, makes weight, I say give him the fucking winner of that fight, because he was there and showed up and was ready.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I sure wouldn't be fucking mad at it. It's going to get real interesting after Saturday in the heavyweight division one way or another. So at least Sergey is showing that he is willing to step up when someone needs to. And as like you said, as long as he doesn't Anthony Smith the fucking weigh-in, this could make things real interesting. And I'm here for it, man. I'm willing to see where the fuck it goes. But another little piece of very, very exciting and very interesting news over on the Scott Coker side of the house again. Two-time NCAA champion and four-time NCAA All-American wrestler Jordan Oliver, coming straight out of Oklahoma State, has officially signed with Bellator to begin his transition into the world of MMA. And you can say what you want about Bellator, but this is not the first time that they have gone out and gotten someone making their debut from the collegiate world into the professional sports world and grown their in-house talent to get that fighter developed the way that Bellator and Scott Coker have shown can be successful in developing careers in the fight world. And this to me, it's two-sided, I will say. On one hand, it kind of feels like Scott Coker's answer to Bo Nickel, very much so. The accolades obviously are not quite the same, but they are very comparable. But on the other side of things, it's almost a slap in Dana White's face, because with the ability for Dana White to get a Bo Nickel and to get so many of these young up-and-comer guys into like the Contender Series, for them to let someone with the accolades of a Jordan Oliver slip through their fingers seemingly definitely is like a ha gotcha moment for Scott Coker, if nothing else. But I'm very interested to see how they're going to match make him, if they do it the right way and slow play him and let him get some experience in before they really throw him in the fucking deep end and send him off into the fucking Shark Tank. But if they do it right, this could genuinely be a very big storyline for Bellator going forward. And he's coming into the featherweight division, which is one of Bellator's craziest fucking divisions. It's good in the UFC, but I would say Bellator's featherweight division is probably a little crazier in terms of shakeup and fucking contention in the division itself. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And I'm definitely curious to see how his career is going to unfold going forward. Okay. Okay. So, we talked about a story last week in the news segment, and it's actually, I'm not going to say come back around, but we've gotten a new addition to the story here. And while I do stand by the statements that I made in reporting the story last week, I am also willing to acknowledge when I may have been wrong in a situation. And while I am not willing to acknowledge that I was wrong in this situation, I am willing to acknowledge that there are similarities in the original story and the now released extension to said story. We got confirmation via Twitter this week directly from Montana De La Rosa herself that during the exchange in the fight last weekend, when they were up against the cage, there was a moment where, despite wearing the rash guard and top provided by Venom, which should be more than enough, when they were grappling against the fence, her entire top pulled down and almost popped the whole titty out, save for the nipple, in the moment that the actual transition to the ground happened. The reason that this ties so directly to last week, Jessica Andrade had a similar issue. That's thunder. Jessica Andrade had a similar issue with the fight kit itself, but was not wearing the Venom sports bra underneath it. So while similar, was not the same situation, because Montana was wearing the full fight kit and still experienced a similar situation. But this has been addressed directly to the UFC and Venom now because of this, like I said, being a different situation than what Andrade had last weekend. This was a full fight kit potential malfunction that was just narrowly avoided. Interesting and fun as it may have been to see, this is definitely not something that any fighter should have to worry about while they're in a cage prize fighting and, you know, what's supposed to be the top organization in the fucking world. You shouldn't have to worry about your fucking uniform falling off of you. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this gets addressed going forward, because while it is haha, it's also a serious issue for a company that, I will say to their credit, never had this problem when Reebok was running the show. It wasn't the prettiest kit, but I don't remember a single lady complaining about this happening. And now we've got 2 in a week with Venom. So there is something to be said about it.
Do you know what should be said about it? Let them choose their own fucking fight kits. So that way, if the shit happens, it's on them. And when I say choose their own fight kits, I mean what manufacturer it's coming from. I don't give a fuck who you're paired up with. You want to rep Venom, make them wear Venom shorts. Let them choose their fucking tops.
Right. Well, and I've seen there's a couple of different ladies threads going now from lady fighters, from ladies who are in the MMA world practicing both in jiu-jitsu and MMA that are talking about this is only an issue when the UFC literally limits the entire fight kit. It wouldn't be an issue. And a lot of these ladies have been very forthcoming in saying this is not an issue on a lot of the lower circuits where they still have to wear the company provided fight kit, but they get to choose their own undergarments. They wear their own fucking sports bra, their own fucking underwear, their own cup. They just put the company shorts and the company fucking top on. This isn't a problem because ladies know what works for them. Same way a dude knows what fucking jockeys are going to work better for him than some fucking random guy in a locker room asking you your size. Like, I absolutely get that. So I'm curious to see how it gets addressed, because I'm telling you right now, with both of these ladies having the same problem in a week, it's going to need to be addressed.
Yeah, especially if that shit happens in the co-main event this weekend.
That's what I was just going to say, because God forbid that happens to one of the ladies in the code this weekend. Heads will fucking roll, I promise you. If Valentina's nipple pops out, she's going to stop the fight and go beat the shit out of Dana cage side right then and there. And it's not going to get interrupted by anyone. They're just going to be like, yeah.
We're not talking ghetto stuff that you see on fucking.
Yeah, ain't no world star shit happening.
Yeah. I'm saying these bitches care. They're in front of millions of eyes.
Yeah, this is a serious deal, so it does need to be addressed, and I'm sure it will be. I'm curious to see how so. So the next one here, I'm kind of torn on how I feel about it. They really tried to make it more of a deal than it was. They literally made a whole press announcement about it. Dave Feldman went on Ariel's show and did a thing about it. Like they really tried to make it a whole big deal, even though it really wasn't so much of a big deal. But we got confirmation from Dave Feldman himself that April 29th in Broomfield, Colorado will be BKFC 41, headlined by Eddie Alvarez versus Chad Mendez, co-main eventing under the debut in BKFC of one Luke Rockhold versus Mike Perry for your main event. Luke Rockhold came out this week and said, and I quote, BKFC made me an offer I would be a fucking idiot to refuse, so fuck yes, I signed with them. Dave Feldman is known for throwing his checkbook around very Chaudhry-esque. So I get it. Now, whether this is a smart meeting or not, we will find out, because this is going to be at 195-pound catch weight, because Rockhold is obviously a dude who should not really have been fighting at fucking middleweight. He's a bigger dude, whereas Perry is pretty much a natural fucking welterweight who beefed up a little bit and was fighting at fucking welterweight when he started doing some BKFC shit a little bit ago. But it's gonna be interesting, because they were talking about it this afternoon. There's only an 1.5 inch difference in reach between the two of them. I did not realize that Mike Perry and Luke Rockhold only have an 1.5 inch difference in reach. That could very much change that fight, because Luke likes to fight long, but Perry can take pretty much anything you can fucking throw at him, and he's gonna hit you back harder.
Yeah, that's a no-win for me. Like I don't even want to watch that main event. I don't like Luke Rockhold, and I sure as fuck do not like Aluminum Mike.
No, it's going to be interesting. And then Eddie versus Chad in the co-main, like, they are quite literally now building cards off of entire ex-UFC rosters. Like, they're not even being shy or quaint about it anymore. They're literally just building ex-UFC cards. At least Bellator has the decency to mix in other fighters other than the pickups they get from the UFC.
Well, and then what is it? The women's title is on the line. So you got Beck Rawlings, who's also on that card with a
Beck Rawlings on a last minute substitution. Yeah. Not even earning her place. Christine Faria was originally going to fight someone else who apparently had some visa issues, and then Beck Rawling is stepping in as a short notice replacement.
Yeah. So, and she's former UFC as well. So,
Yep.
Just saying,
Yep.
Put that fucker straight to bed over there. But hey, you know what? It's gonna sell for them just because of the names on the card. They're all recognizable names, and
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
they've already had fucking craziness out of Mike Perry there already, so he's already turning out to be one of their superstars over there.
Mike Perry's earning his fucking pennies over there for damn sure.
Between every time that they put him at the fucking desk, yeah, fucking
Right.
wild.
Yeah, good times. Next one here. There was a little bit of controversy. We talked about it behind the scenes last week. We had a feeling it was one thing. We were kind of all wrong. We did get the official confirmation and announcement about it this week, though. Last week, the UFC Roster Watch automated account caught the fact that Darren Till was no longer on the UFC roster. But we talked about it a little bit behind the scenes. The UFC Roster Watch account is literally an automated ping program that just pings the publicized UFC roster for any changes and then notes the change. It doesn't have anything to do about a fighter getting cut, a fighter's contract running out, being released, whatever the case may be. It literally is just a ones and zeros. This name was here and it's not here anymore situation. So more often than not, when the UFC Roster Watch account catches a name, it's just because a fighter in their last fight completed the number of fights that were on their contract, and they're just waiting to sign a new contract. They're not actually released. They're just technically a free agent for the day and a half or whatever it takes for their new contract to get signed and then published, and then their name re-put back into the roster just like normal. But then there's the other small portion of the time when the UFC Roster Watch account actually catches one that no one really expected. And this is one of those times. We got confirmation from the horse's mouth itself this week. Darren Till officially requested his contractual release from the UFC, and they granted it. He is technically no longer a UFC fighter whatsoever, completely released from his UFC contract. He did say that this is just another step in the path that he does intend to be back better than ever, but that kind of leads you to wonder here, is this one of those situations where he's hurt and trying to take advantage of the Conor McGregor loophole, as it's been dubbed? Or is this one of those situations where he's got so much shit going on in his personal life right now, he just literally can't have, just doesn't have time to even train, let alone to be able to get in there to fight and earn his checks anymore?
He did put out a video. He said he is going to use the Conor McGregor loophole.
Oh, did he confirm it?
Oh, yeah. There's a video out there of him stating it. He's like, look, he's like, I've got some knee issues, and I'm worried about what they're going to put in there. Am I going to be hot? So it's time for me to take that Conor McGregor hole and get myself fixed right so I can come back and be better.
There you go. See, we've said it for a while now. Once the UFC lets someone get away with it, especially someone of Conor's notoriety and not even trying to hide it really at this point, it was going to start to catch on. And sure enough,
they can't do anything about it anyways. Once they release them, USADA can't test them.
Yep.
Because there's no reason for them to test them, because they're completely out of competition at that point once they're not a rostered fighter within the organization.
Yeah, no, it's a strange time indeed. That being said, though, that'll bring me to the last and unfortunately once again recurring story that we have got in the news and recent events segment. Once again, we have sadly completed another week, and Dana White has yet to face any sort of actual accountability or punishment for openly smacking his fucking wife down in Cabo San Lucas. on New Year's Eve. And even if I'm the last fucking canary in the coal mine singing the goddamn song until something actually gets fucking done about it, every fucking week I will mention it, and every fucking week I will tag Dana White to it so he has to fucking see it or block me. Either fucking way, I'm still gonna keep fucking saying it. But fuck you, you creepy Uncle Fester looking scumbag son of a bitch. Living with it is not a fucking punishment. That being said, though, that's what I've got for news this week. Do either of you gentlemen have anything that I might have missed this week?
I've got one thing. I just thought this was funny. It's a new fight announcement in the same turn. We didn't talk about it last week on the show. We didn't think it was worthy enough. You know, Bryce Mitchell's hand injury, getting the fucking splinter in there and trying to cut it out and shit and having to go to the damn doctor to get it out. Yeah, I remember seeing the Instagram post. He was like, I ain't no bitch. The fight's still on. Well, the fight's not on for him. The fight's still on, but not for him. The UFC said, no, get the fuck out of here, you dumb son of a bitch. And Gabe Green is taking his spot to fight Jake Matthews on May 13th. I thought that was impressive. Like, Gabe Green's not even that great of a fighter. So you really, not that Jake Matthews is either, but he boned up. You know, I mean, he's always doing something stupid, like getting his nuts twisted up in a damn drill, you know.
Right. No, I didn't hear that they'd officially replaced him already, but I mean, I'm not fucking surprised. If you saw what they pulled out of his fucking hand, yeah, no, that you're not gonna get, you shouldn't be fucking medically cleared to fight 4 weeks, whatever, later, after they pull a fucking 4-inch spike out of your fucking palm that you already tried to cut out and passed out, you dipshit. Flat earth fucking moron. God damn it. Why?
That's not even the flat earther in him, and that was the redneck in him doing that.
I hope they gave him camo stitches. Fucking Bryce. God damn it. Oh. But that is what we've got for news and recent events for this week. So that will bring us to the point where, painful though it may be, we sometimes are forced to admit that, like some of us, if you've been watching MMA for a while, you do inevitably start to get somewhat set in your ways. And unfortunately, getting set in your ways watching combat sports, you kind of develop a set of inevitable blinders that you just start watching what you like, when you like, how you like it. And you inevitably, as the saying goes, miss the forest for the trees, as it were. Luckily, us old dogs who've got our blinders set in place still have some young folks that we keep in contact with to help get those blinders pulled the fuck back down and keep us in touch with some of the up and coming folks that we need to be paying attention to before they become a household name, in a segment that we like to refer to here as Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
All right, so I'm going to keep it a little simple this week, even though I got a few names to list off. I'm going to start with the cans. This is just all this week. Touch on last weekend. I was actually surprised. You know, we went to FAC 18. You know, some of those contenders that I was talking about, like Nick Meck and Alan Olivas, they didn't look so good. Some of the younger guys looked pretty good, like the amateurs, but the pro guys, they struggled a bit. They still got wins by decisions, but didn't look so good. So local scene didn't turn out the way I hoped. Let's see how the 285 goes for some of the contenders. That's all we got this weekend. Let's start with the cans. You got just a fight in general. Cody Garbrandt and Trevin Jones. Both of them are cans. I mean, Garbrandt, yes, former champion, but at this point, he should have already retired, in my opinion. You know, the older guys don't do well in those lighter weight classes, and he's 1-5 in his last 6 since he was champ. He's just been knocked the hell out time and time again. His one win was a knockout against Rafael Assunção, but I don't know. It'd be sad and funny at the same time. Like, funny, depressing to see him get knocked out again this weekend. And it's just like total. But Trevin Jones isn't good. So I just had to put this whole fight. It's a can of a fight. Mana Martinez somewhat of a local guy in the sense that he used to train at Glory MMA. James Krause is the coach. He's never been very good. He's got a couple wins in the UFC, but I don't think he's very good. Now he doesn't have his coach. I feel like Cameron Saman's definitely going to show what kind of a fighter he is. So I'm putting him in the can category for this weekend. We got Jessica Penne. Vincent, he made me laugh the other day. He said, she's a noodle. How can a limp noodle be good? And it made me just cracked up a little bit, But she's just older. She's on the older side. She's just never been a very good fighter. So Jamie Pickett have to finish it off. 13-8 guy. 2-4 in the UFC. Been finished, I think, almost every one of the fights, at least 3 of the 4. Bo Nickel's just going to add to it. And then, somewhat of an honorable mention for the Canes. People that are going to look like Canes this weekend, in my opinion. Alexa Grasso, Derek Brunson, and Jeff Neal. There's real high potential that these 3 are going to look like Canes. And not necessarily are, but they're going to be made to look like it. They're just going to look like they shouldn't be in the UFC with how they're going to be dominated. And I like Jeff Neal. I'd like Jeff Neal to win, but I still don't see much of a chance for him, right? Derek Brunson is just too old. Alexa Grasso is the opposite. I feel like she's too young, too green. She won her last fight against Araujo and even said it herself, I want to fight again before I get a title shot. She didn't think she was ready for this. They threw her in here. She's going to get absolutely mollywopped, beat down from pillar to post. I mean, if you love Valentina Shevchenko as much as any of us do, it's going to be a fun time. We love watching Valentina beat the shit out of women. It's a fun time. And so the contenders this weekend, I mentioned him a minute ago, Cameron Saman. He's going to beat the holy living hell out of Manny Martinez, in my opinion. Looked great in his debut. He's finished, I think, 5 out of the 7 of his wins. So the good finishing potential. I'm excited to see him again. Had a great appearance at the end of the year there. I got a contenders fight. Yeah, I kind of like Damone Blackshear. So I threw this fight with Fareed Basharat versus Damone Blackshear. He had a draw against Yusuf Zalal in Blackshear's debut. I feel like he's going to at least make it tough for Basharat, even though I kind of leaning towards Basharat. I just feel like this is a good contenders fight. Whoever wins, going to be excited for them going in the future. And whoever loses, maybe we aren't so excited about how their future will be, but they could be a fun fighter to watch. I think it's going to be a good fight. Big one, Shavkat, obviously. 16-0, all 16 wins by finish. And if he goes out and finishes Jeff Neal, he's probably cracking into the top 5 and maybe just one more fight away from getting a title, in all honesty. Legitimate contender. It's kind of like Hamzat, right? But I don't think Hamzat can make welterweight anymore. So this is potentially Shavkat's division. I felt like they would eventually meet each other, but I don't know if Hamzat will wind up getting back down to 170. I got an honorable mention as a contender. Esteban Ribovic making his debut. The 11-0, all fights by won by finish. So just throwing him in an honorable mention. You got Ian Gary. He's fighting an absolute can, in my opinion, even though Kenan Song's got a few wins. His last fight, he got knocked out by Max Griffin. He hasn't fought in over a year. This fight to me just doesn't make sense, but Ian Gary is a decent prospect. I feel like he's going to get a finish in this fight pretty easy. Drickus Duplessis, I kind of want to throw as a contender. He beats Derek Brunson. He's getting shot up towards the top. And then I got to finish it off. You know how I got to finish it off. I think everybody knows how I got to finish off the contenders. The fucking biggest contender, 3-0. making his UFC debut on a fucking main event of a pay-per-view. Bo fucking Nickel. He's going to wipe the floor. He has never seen past a minute in a fight in his pro career. 3 fights, never gone past a minute. I don't think this fight's going past a minute either. I think Jamie Pickett's just going to get fucked from the beginning. Just depends on how Bo wants to fuck him. Does he want missionary? Does he want doggy? Does he want a 69? It's just, how's Bo feeling that day? What kind of horn dog is he feeling like? You know, is he going to take Jamie down to the ground and just fuck him, you know, put him in a submission, end it in under a minute? Or does he want to knock him the fuck out? It's going to be fantastic to see. Bo's already shown us he can do both. Absolutely the most excited fucking. I'm probably more excited for that, in all honesty, than John Jones. And it's just because John Jones is a shitty person. But he's a fantastic fighter, and I'm excited to see him come back. But had to throw in Bo at the end. You got to finish it off with best for last, right? So, as I like to do, finish her off. Vin just didn't have a lot himself, you know, in all honesty. He's a little tired. We're looking forward to the judging. But we'll ask you guys, before we finish off, you got any cans or contenders yourself?
Well, I'll run with this since Meter seems to be taking a sweet ass fucking time over there. Biggest can on the fucking card right now, Cody Garbrandt, hands down. He's not done shit in the last since he lost the title. Period. He's had 1 knockout in that time, and to be honest, that's some of the luckiest timing you'll ever see at the end of a fucking round. Almost in essence of that same end of round fucking craziness that we've seen out of one certain other fighter that I can't stand either. So yeah, definitely biggest hand on the card right now. I don't give a fuck about even these young guys that are coming up. I can't call them as big of a can as he is because he's just went to absolute dog shit. Contender. I know going Bo Nickel is low-hanging fruit, so I'm not going to do that, even though I see a lot out of him. But the other one I still think I leave on the contender list all the time because we've seen what he can do, but he just hasn't been able to string it together. The Cuban Missile Crisis, Julian Marquez. He's one of those guys where I think he still has a fuck ton of potential. If he could just seem to string it together a little better, we could really see some amazing shit out of him.
I agree. If he's worked on his gas tank a little bit, in my opinion, I think he's got this one. That's the biggest thing I worry about with him. You know, he's like great finishing potential and just potential overall. But in his last couple of fights, he just gets tired after round 1. You just can't do that because sometimes you're gonna find a guy that holds up with the chin, and you got to go through war. So
I got a couple here that are probably I don't know if it would be just unpopular or controversial, however you want to look at it, but I got a pair that are fucking fiery takes here. So my official pick for can of the weekend is Jeff fucking Neal. Because aside from the Vicente Luque fluke fucking shot that we can all agree that was not the Vicente Luque we've seen for the last 3 years in that fight. But aside from that knockout, last summer, Jeff Neal hasn't finished a fight, not in any method, but finished a fight in anything but a decision since Mike fucking Perry in 2018. Go fuck yourself, Jeff Neal. So... on the other side of that, though, my contender of the weekend, the one that I actually have faith in putting on a good show, actually isn't even on the goddamn UFC card. It's the main event of the BKFC 37 card going down at 3:00 in the afternoon from BKFC London. Connor fucking Tierney, the Bronx Town bomber himself, one of the single hottest fucking prospects in all of bare-knuckle, and they're giving him a main event at home to show that he deserves a title fight. And I think he's just going to beat the fucking shit out of Jake Lindsey. I don't know why Jake Lindsey agreed to fly all the way to London to get his ass kicked like this, but I hope that fucking paycheck is worth it because I think Connor is gonna fuck that boy up Saturday afternoon.
Good shit. I knew you were going to talk some shit on Jeff Neal.
Fuck Jeff Neal.
That's it for us, though. That was good shit.
Right on. Right on. Much appreciated, sir. So that will bring us to the point in the show, where we come to a segment that actually requires its own separate disclaimer aside from the one that you got in the beginning of the show here. Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form condone, endorse, or sponsor the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology.com does offer a service that allows you to create a free account and make picks fantasy style on all of the combat sports that take place today, be it major organizations down to your local fights. We have created a group of just such individuals making picks on fights like this called ImNoBookie, all one word, or Group 965, however you need to search it. It is an open to the public group, and you are all more than welcome to create an account, join the group, and put your picks head to head, week in, week out against us in a segment that we like to recap called Tapology with TJ.
All right, boys. I'm going to hop right into this, but I'm going to say last week with the fuckery that was afoot, we're going to put an asterisk by the way last week played out. Not that it would have changed the standings much, but there is a very good possibility that it could have changed the top and also the bottom. So with that being said, last week, what was supposed to be a much better main event than what we received, which to be expected when you have that last minute fuckery afoot. Christian comes down with the W by 10 points over Lucas. Caveat to that statement. Christian had less correct picks than Lucas. Lucas had 7, you had 6, sir. Now, here's where that other fucking asterisk comes into play. The tripping over your dick award. Going straight out to the main man, Don, next door neighbor. With myself and Meter, not much ahead of him. Now, where I say that caveat falls in, it should have been me getting the lowest score because I had the least correct picks of all of us. But I did have a nice perfect and a semi-perfect in there, so that fucking saved me and put me right in that spot. So, like I said, there's some asterisks that go along with this last week. However, all of that fuckery aside, congratulations to Christian and his squeaking it out over Lucas. I thought Lucas took it, but I realized I did bad math at the time, probably because I may have had a drink or two in me. But, you know, you'll have that. And Don, roll it up, put it back in your pants, get ready for this weekend. Now, with all that being said, if you're watching and you're not in our group, what the fuck are you doing? Hop in here, have some fucking fun. Join the ImNoBookie group over on Tapology. It's a good fucking time every week, and as long as I know who you are, I will make sure you're included in this roundup here. The only reason that Vinny didn't get mentioned, he's just middle of the pack guy over there, just kind of trotting along, so we didn't even mention him this week. Vinny, either pick it up or trip over it, one of the two. Come on, son. But that being said, we're going to move right into this coming week's wonderful, and when I say wonderful, I mean absolutely wonderful fucking odds that they've got going on here. There's some craziness that is afoot in the odds making this week, and I am here for it because it's been a couple of weeks since we've got some craziness going on. So I'm going to start right down at the bottom and work my way up. I'm going to do them fairly quickly until we get to some of the crazier shit that's on here. So with the first fight on the card, Esteban Ribovic, I'm probably martyring that because I don't speak Argentinian, and then I think it's Ratsabov, probably martyr in that. They've got Esteban as a plus 230 underdog through MGM and a minus 300 for Loic. Like I said, not fucking familiar with these names, so I'm gonna martyr them until I hear them some more. So kind of wide odds, something that's worth betting on. There are a couple fucking undercard guys that could surprise you, so there is possibility to make some money on those, which brings you into the next fight on there. Damon Blackshear and Farid Bakhsharat. Another kind of wide odds for being fucking such green behind the ears. They actually have Damon as a plus 330 fucking underdog. So you might not want to necessarily listen to Christian on his cans and contenders sometimes because he might get those wrong. Just saying. But then Farid as a minus 410 favorite. Just poking the bear there a little bit, Christian. Is poking the bear. So there's little wide odds there. And look, I have to give credit where credit is due. Christian is usually pretty good at nailing the cans and contenders lately. So you might want to bet on Damon there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying too. I would agree with that. If I was able to put some fucking money on it, there's just something about that kid that I like. And Basharat's not that experienced. Only 9 fights and he's 25 years old, so you never know what can fucking happen.
And just putting it out there.
Basharat's part of the fucking brothers hype in the UFC right now, so I would fucking put money on Blackshear just on that alone because the brothers hype hasn't really lived up to the fucking build up so far. So, but you know.
No, and then here's where we get back into Christian being right along with the odds. Penny can plus 195 underdog. They've got Rage Chi as a minus 230. Not a huge spread, but still, it's there. Now, here's where we start getting into some of the craziness that's going on with wide spreads. Ian Gary and Kanan Song. They have Ian Gary as a minus 750 favorite over a plus 500 Kanan Song. That's a huge fucking difference. So, look, that's one not gonna make a lot of money unless you bet on Kanan, and probably not worth your time because I don't think he's got it and take out Gary. And moving up, I'm just gonna breeze through these next 1, 2, 3. These next 3. So Cameron and Lemon, those two basically a horse piece, minus 250 plus 210. The Cuban Missile Crisis and Marc-Andre Barrial, they've got a coin flip, a plus 105 to a minus 125. Another coin flip in Amanda Ribas and Viviana Araujo, a minus 130 to a plus 110. And getting to the next fight up here, Derek Brunson and Dricus Duplessis. They've got Brunson, a plus 200 underdog to the minus 240. Dricus Duplessis is the favorite. Kind of lining up with what we're saying here, really. Another one of those fucking wide margins. Not as wide as I think it should be, but hey, they're not always right. They've got the Valentina Shevchenko Alexa Grasso fight here, sitting at a between minus 600 to minus 750, depending on where you're looking, favor of Valentina Shevchenko, to a plus 450 to plus 500 in Alexa Grasso. So they've got Shevchenko as a large favorite in this, which makes sense completely. Not quite as wide as I would think it would be. And I know this isn't in order because I'm just going off the order that I look at my odds in here. So I know it's not in the order, that being the co-main event. Then next one I've got up the list here. It's going to be Garbrandt and Jones. Basically, they have that listed as coin flip, with somehow Garbrandt having the fucking odds in his favor at a minus 165 over a plus 140. Now, widest margin on the entire fucking card. Bo Nickel, Jamie Pickett. They have Bo Nickel listed as a between minus 1,400 to minus 2,000 favorite, depending on where you're looking, and Jamie Pickett at a plus 850 to plus 950, depending on where you're looking, as the underdog. I'm just saying, if you ever wanted to bet against Bo Nickel, right now is the fucking time to do it, because you're going to make a lot of fucking money right there. A lot of fucking money. I'm not saying you're going to make money, but if by some fluke it happens, because Jimmy Pickett has been known to knock a person or two out, so it could happen. Everybody starts standing up. Everybody's got a puncher's chance. But I think those odds are pretty goddamn spot on right now, because we haven't seen anything out of Bo Nickel to prove otherwise at this point. And I'm taking into account his shit that was on the Contender Series, because the way he showed up in those, there's no doubt the kid's got fucking skills. So, widest odds on the card. And then you got Jalen Turner and Matus Gamrot, which I was surprised about the odds on this one. They have these pretty fucking close, because to be honest, I liked the Tarantula and Jalen Turner, but I think Matus Gamrot is much better than he is. But they don't quite see it that way. They barely got Matus Gamrot as a favorite at a minus 170 and Jalen Turner at a plus 145. So they basically have a coin flip, which I'm not mad about. But I have a feeling Gamrot's got a bit more of an edge, although I'm thinking maybe they're taking in some of that long distance striking Tarantula there to, kind of fucking throw that out there. Our next widest margin on the fight heats here, Jeff Neal and Sakfa Rachmanov. Fucking, they've got Rachmanov as a minus 500 favorite over a plus 400 Jeff Neal. Look, we already know Jeff Neal gonna can it up, because if he does win, it would be by decision. And the way Rachmanov has been, he has been the fucking, he's like the yin to fucking the yang of goddamn, he's on point every time we've seen him come out. Rachmanov has been underlooked. It's time that when he blows through Jeff Neal here, with the odds that they have, they make sense. He'll blow through them, and then he deserves something way farther up the ladder, in my opinion, because he's showing it. He deserves to be there. He's right in that same neck of the woods as some other folks. Oh, last fight on the card. Odds crazily close. The main event, Jon Jones and Ciryl Gane. I didn't want to take this out this long, but this one really blew my mind how close they have this. They have Jon Jones, almost 3 years off an arrest and some other shit in that time, as a minus 155 favorite over Ciryl Gane, who has looked like an absolute demolition man, at a plus 135 underdog. However, I think these odds are way fucking wrong for one reason. Ciryl Gane got out-wrestled by fucking Francis Ngannou. Jon Jones is a much better wrestler than Francis Ngannou. By a long fucking shot. Even with 3 years of fucking ring rust. If you're going to give him the fucking betting favorite, you might want to increase those odds just a bit, I'm saying. I'm not saying to make it a 500-600, but maybe like a minus 300, like kind of double those. Because that wrestling is on a whole different level. I mean, he did make it a point to take down DC in their fight just to say that he could fucking wrestle. And he did it with relative fucking ease when he did it. Just saying, the guy can fucking wrestle. I don't think they took that into account. I think they looked at all the ring rust, kind of wrote that off. But I'm not mad at the odds that are there, because they do make sense. We know, minus the fact of the piece of shit human being that Jon Jones has been in the past. I don't know if he's changed recently. I can't say that he has, knowing as he got arrested in 2022 last year. He's a great fucking fighter. He really is a fantastic fighter. Whether you agree with what he does outside of the fucking organization, I don't agree with, because that's just, it's a terrible look on the sport of MMA. It's a terrible look on him, especially as his status is wanting to be one of the greats. hard to put you into the category of greats when you do stupid shit like that outside of the octagon. But the way they're kind of disrespecting on, in my opinion, as a plus 135 underdog coming into this, I think it's a little bit disrespectful. I think he should have had the edge there. If it's me and I'm going to bet on this fight, I'm going to bet Gane. I'm not saying that I think Gane is going to win, but I would take the money on Gane over paying the extra to get the $100 out of Jones, you know. It makes more sense just to bet Gane in this case. But odds makers are weird. I don't think they look at some of the in-depth stuff that a lot of us that watch the sport over and over and over do. They look at previous records and all this other shit that just none of that stuff makes any sense. Because, well, we know it here. We've said it before. MMA math does not fucking work. It doesn't work in any sense of the word. But, which kind of odd when I say that Jones is a much better wrestler than fucking Francis. Kind of put my own foot in my mouth there, but hey, it's something to think about. I'm just saying I don't think a lot of people have thought about that when they were thinking about the fucking odds there, because Gane got his ass wrestle fucked to death by fucking Francis, which is weird in itself. Just saying. But yeah, those are the odds for this week. If you want to really make money, you can bet Jamie Pickett. Chances are you're going to lose your money, but there's a chance you can make a fucking lot of money. You drop $100 and Pickett wins, you're $1,400 to $2,000 richer, depending on where you placed your bet. Just saying. It's worth a shot. There's some wild ones out there. Keep an eye on them as the fights get closer. Check them Saturday morning before they start cutting off fucking bets, you know? Then don't forget, if you haven't signed up yet, go sign up over on Tapology. Join our group. It's going to be a good time.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. Now, TJ, you did say you were feeling good tonight, right? You because I know you were a little rough last weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking hyped. Let's do this. I already know where you're going with this, so
I'm just making sure now. I understand that he's a busy man. I tried to reach out to Brad Tate. Unfortunately, on short notice, we couldn't get him here to get knuckles wrapped. Much as we might have liked to, though, there is, however, a certain individual who has stated that they feel they've got a good claim to an ass kicker here in the pit. I think they've got a fairly established claim to said statement, but they haven't been here to defend said claim in a minute. Luckily for us, though, through the magic of technology and and all that,
Ooh.
the one and only Grasso 3 himself returns. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're just listening to the audio version of the show, you might be confused because you won't see the glorious GIF rolling across the screen to let you know that this is the point in the show where the friendly aspect goes out the window and things go from hee hee ha ha to oh shit and oh damn. This is the point where we take things to a little bit more of a competitive side and a little segment we like to call the pit. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we have got a matchup for the ages, in my humble opinion, if I do say so. Golf T versus Fresho 3. Red on red action. Gentlemen, welcome you both. I'm glad to have you both here. Are you gentlemen ready for some pit action?
I'm ready.
Oh, I'm ready. Although I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little odd about this. I feel like you're kind of pitting brother against brother violence again here. Just saying.
True. I mean, it's not like we weren't opposed to inflicting violence upon each other when when we lived nearby. But
And
that's
then
all
what's
right.
even better is the brothers are going to be judging your brother on brother violence. So it's going to be a
Excellent.
I mean, could you have better guest judges for this matchup, though? Really?
This is the brother hype. All the
I
brother
think
hype.
it's much better.
Right?
Going to be a fantastic.
All right. So, gentlemen, you are both pit veterans here. You know how this works. Fresh 03 being as how it has been the longest since you have been on this show, I will give you the option to sit back and watch Golf T stumble confusedly in the initiative here. So Golf T kicking things off round one, as we like to do around here. On every card, there is inevitably one fight that no matter how hard you try, just doesn't get the love it deserves. One fight that if there are folks around you when it comes on, you have no choice but involuntarily to blurt out and get everyone's attention in a fight we lovingly refer to as the matchup on the card. If there is one fight that just isn't getting the love it deserves, in your opinion, Golf T, which fight is that for you?
I mentioned it earlier loosely. I really think in this case is going to be the Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and Marc-Andre Barrial. They have not touched this fight all fucking week. And to be honest, there's a lot at stake for both of those guys. This is one that could really give them a catapult, because both of them are, at this point, pretty well-known names. They might not be to every casual, but even a lot of casuals know who both of them are. Who doesn't know the guy who asked out Miley Cyrus after a fucking victory? I mean, it's kind of a no fucking brainer. And Marc-Andre Barrial himself, he's been around and doing it for a long time as well. So I mean, both of them could use a really good W here, and it's solid competition across cage. I think this is going to be a sleeper fight of the night.
Interesting. I can see that. Definitely getting slept on. I agree with that for sure. So,
not that you can read my writing, but
I see Barrial
Marquez. Yeah, I mean, I'll concede the point on this one. This is the fight for me. Like if there was ever any fight that you wanted to see, it's going to be these two. They're two guys who are tough, who think they're tougher than they are, which always amounts to some fantasticness. Their styles are just varied enough to where you could see it go about 10 different directions. But I mean, at any moment, there could be a stoppage, there could be a knockout, there could be anything that happens in this fight. It's gonna be fucking fantastic. It has gotten, TJ's absolutely right, it has gotten absolutely no love, and it's a fucking shame, especially with some of the other shit that's on this card. But I mean, thus is the case anytime when you've got John Jones on a fucking card. So you know, everything else is just going to fall by the wayside. Unless these two started stabbing each other out in the hallway, this thing wasn't going to get any fucking love. And it should get all the love in the world. This right here is probably going to be sleeper fight of the night.
Damn it, timer. Here we go. Well, what do you say, brothers?
All right, so I'm judging the first round here. Then Vincent's going to go second. Well, we're going to trade off, right? So this first round, I got to give it to Fresh. I just love the fucking enthusiasm. The fact that he put out all the fuckings, really sold this fucking fight. I just love that. You know, it's a great piece of my vocabulary. So Fresh takes round one.
As it should be in everybody's fucking life.
Yep, great fucking start.
The second you said them stabbing each other in the hallway, I was going to concede the point right there anyways.
Oh, yeah, that was
had me laughing.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. I'd be down for either fucking way it goes. So, that being said, we will give the point for round one to Fresh 03. Coming back, scoring hot right out the gate. So, as we do around here, flip things over. Round two, flip the proverbial coin as it will, as well as the order here. Fresh 03, question goes to you first, sir. If every card has one fight that you just have to get everyone in earshot to pay attention to, inevitably that means that one card has every card has one fight that people just won't shut up about that doesn't deserve 2 fucking seconds of time. The anti-dark horse, if you will, the fight that's getting overhyped, if you will. What fight for you, Fresh 03, is getting more spotlight than it deserves?
As much as I hate to say it, it's probably Shevchenko versus Grasso. Everybody's saying that Shevchenko's slowing down. She's losing her edge. That this is as vulnerable as she's looked in years. It's probably exactly what she fucking wants you to think. Like it's being hyped up that this could be the end of Shevchenko. This is exactly the type of fight that she wants to get into. She's got fucking Grasso who's going to come out swinging for the fences every time she gets a chance. And what's Shevchenko going to do? And then next thing you know, she's popped her with an elbow or she's kicked her in the fucking face and Grasso's stumbling back against the fence and then it's game over. You know, I get it. You have to hype up your title fights, yeah, especially you know, Shevchenko. She's one of the faces of the UFC right now. You have to hype this type of fight up. I think it's grossly overrated. I don't think Alexa Grasso has as much of a chance as anybody's saying. Because if you pop Shevchenko in the face, it's just going to wake her up more. Like, I really don't like this fight for Grasso. But I can say that about most of Shevchenko's opponents. I don't like the fight coming in. I don't think her reign of dominance is over unless she wants it to be over.
I can definitely agree with that. I think this fight is getting way more attention than it should. I don't think this fight should have been made to begin with. So I can absolutely agree with you on this being the overhyped fight. But that'll bring us across the octagon, as it were, back over to you, Golf T. So in every card, if there's one that you just got to scream at your mama to pay attention to, there's one that you could probably tell that bitch to go make you a fucking sandwich as well, because you ain't going to miss nothing. Which fight for you is that overhyped fight on this particular card, sir?
Oh, as much as this pains me to say it, it's the UFC's next superstar, Bo-knuckle, Jamie Pickett. I'm going to tell everybody, go in the kitchen, make sandwich. We already know what's going to fucking happen. Bo-knuckle's going to run through Jamie Pickett. That's going to be the end of it. And the other reason I'm being disappointed, this is his first official fucking fight in the UFC. What the fuck is he doing on the main card? Put that motherfucker on the undercard. And not, look, if you really want to hype him up, put him in the spot that Cody Garbrandt and Trevor Jones is in. Make him the premier prelim. I am perfectly all right with that, but your first official fight in the UFC, you don't belong anywhere near the main card in a fucking pay-per-view of this caliber when you've got 2 belts on the line. And to be honest, a pretty good overall main card. Put him on the fucking undercard. We already know he's going to win. Until you start giving him some quality fucking opponents where he's going to have to work for it, I don't want to see him on a main card. And I like Bo-knuckle. I'm rooting for the guy. But fucking walk away. We already know what's going to happen. It's not worth my time to sit here and overhype the shit out of him. Let his mom talk on a... What the fuck are they doing? These lead-up shows are getting ridiculous. Let any Tom, Dick, and Harry come talk about a fighter. No. Put him on the undercard where he belongs until he gets some fights under him, and then throw in some decent names. Then maybe on a main card on a UFC fight night, but not a main card on a fucking pay-per-view. Bullshit.
I could definitely see that. I would agree, save for one Alex Pereira, who got a very similar push and was not main evented, but main carded on his first UFC fight. Second UFC fight earned him a title shot. So I can see it if they're trying to play that same trajectory. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If they don't play that same card, I agree. Grab your fucking torch, grab your pitchfork. Let's burn this bitch to the ground. That being said, though, gentlemen, what do the brothers think here?
I like both answers very much, but I'm going to have to give it to Fresh this round because even Alexa Grasso said she wasn't ready for this fight. And that's where I will stand.
Yeah, it's not good, huh? That's not good when somebody else does.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. She said herself she wasn't ready for it, but she's welcomed the opportunity. That you can't look at a Valentina fight like that. You have to be 100% period, or you're gonna get fucking steamrolled anyway. At least 100%, you've got a chance. Coming in with any sort of doubt in your mind against the fucking bullet, that's bad news bears. So I agree. And Fresh 03 up from the get-go, coming in strong on the recurve.
Is he
So
potentially going to get the first ever sweep on the show?
oh shit. Here we go. So for round 3, flip it back around. Golf Tee, that one comes to you. And in this one, round 3, as we do around here, we have got a, well, depending on how you look at it, interesting or not interesting co-main event that we are going to watch play out one way or another. So my question to you, sir, best case scenario, how does that co-main event end Saturday night?
Well, we already know how it's going to end. It's just a matter of when. We know Shevchenko's going to win. I don't, to be honest, I don't foresee it getting out of the third round. I honestly see Shevchenko going in there, getting a knockout or a TKO. To be honest, I'm more apt to say that if it goes past the third round, that's because Grasso somehow gets her to the ground and there's a little bit of grappling involved. Because Grasso's last couple wins have all come by submission. So that's her only saving grace there. That would be the only thing that can push it through. And to be honest, there's only one person that we've seen give fucking Shevchenko any issues when it came to the grappling aspect of things, and that was namely with her takedowns, because she was using the same takedown over and over, which somebody finally caught on. It's going to happen. But I'm sure that chink in the armor has been fixed already. So, like I said, I don't see it getting out of the third round. It's going to be TKO or a KO victory.
I could definitely see that for damn sure. So that'll bring us back across the octagon, as it were, over here to Fresh 03. Chevy truck's going to roll over the lawn. What do you think? How does it play out in that co-main event, sir?
I mean, Grasso's only real hope is to completely change up her game and do the push her against the fence. That's her only hope. Push her against the fence, look for the opportunity to take her down, and then try and slap her in a submission. I don't think she's going to be very successful in someone as experienced as Shevchenko and quite frankly as fucking good as Shevchenko is at pretty much every aspect of her game at this point. So I see this one TKO stoppage. I think eventually a counter shot's going to catch Grasso, and I think Shevchenko will just start laying the fuck into her, and either the ref's going to have to stop it, or it'll just be a TKO where she can't defend herself. We've seen it time and time again. If you open yourself up for counter shots, which Alexa Grasso inevitably will, it's going to happen, and she's going to get caught, and then from there it's just the inevitability. So it's like I said, this one's hyped. This one's overhyped. I think it certainly has the potential to be exciting for a little while. It also has the potential to be boring as shit if it winds up going to the fences, which unfortunately, like I said, I think is Alexa Grasso's only path to victory. So I actually expect to see her attempt that, is push her into a corner and start trying to work a takedown and work it into a submission. But I don't. Inevitably, she'll fall back on trying to take a shot, and she's just going to pay for it. And once she starts paying for it, I mean, the bill comes due real quick with Shevchenko.
Yeah, and when it's due, she don't accept partial payments. She wants it all in full right fucking now, for damn sure. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think it could be a real fucking painful night for Miss Grasso. What do you boys think over there?
Okay, I'm going to have to give this one to Golf Tee here. I really like the fact that it's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if Valentina's going to win. It's just a matter of time. And I also love the fact that he said round 3 TKO or knockout, because that's exactly what I picked on Tapology. You got to give the brother TJ the fucking point on this. We're thinking alike.
I could definitely understand that. I
Smart,
agree.
smart people think alike.
Uh-oh. Fresh is giving us a finger. What's going on? He gave us a finger and disappeared. I thought we were about in for a puppet show there.
Maymay's turning my shit off and on.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Look, you're about to either perform a puppet show or pull Alexa Grasso out from above the desk or something there. I was like, oh shit, this is about to get weird. Oh, all right. So round 3, we will give.
I will beat Shevchenko. Yeah, thank you.
Right.
How many accents can I fit into 30 seconds?
All right. So we will give point for round 3 to Gothi. I do agree. I as well have Grasso losing, but Shevchenko in round 3. I don't think the bullet sees round 4. I don't think she needs to. I think she's just gonna do what she usually does: study her out round 1, start to put it into round 2, and round 3 just shut it down. I think that's definitely how we're gonna go. So that'll bring us to round 4 here in the pit. Fresh 03, back to you, sir. This may be the single most anticipated match in UFC history. Even though we didn't know the opponent, we knew that the matchup this weekend was coming for 3 years as we watched Jon Jones vacate the light heavyweight spot to move up inevitably to come into heavyweight. Little did we know it was walking right into the title fight for the belt, but here we are. So my question to you, sir, in this crazy fucking main event we have got for UFC 285 this weekend, how do you see this playing out between Jon Jones and Ciryl Gane?
I know what my heart wants. I want Ciryl Gane to finish him. And there's several paths to victory there, and it's a better chance than normally when I start talking about Jon Jones. There's a lot better chance at this point because he has packed on so much weight. He's older, he's slower. We really don't know exactly what he's been up to for the last 3 years. Dude hasn't actually finished anybody in 5, so it's been quite a while since Jon Jones was Crazy Bones. So we really don't know what to expect out of Jon Jones. Jon Jones, unfortunately, hasn't been proven wrong yet. As much as I hate to say it, he hasn't been proven wrong yet. I know what my heart wants. I want Ciryl Gane to finish him in the first. I want him to finish him in the first, 3 seconds of the fight. I'm to come out, Superman punch him, and just call it a night, walk off with the belt, because I fucking hate Jon Jones. Hate him. I think Jones survives the first couple rounds and then starts playing the Jon Jones game and starts picking away from distance, working it towards the edge, and then eventually it comes to a decision, which Jon Jones has kind of become a decision machine at this point. So it's and then once it goes to decision, I think the internal politics of the UFC takes over, where you want a name like Jon Jones as your fucking heavyweight champ versus Ciryl Gane. Who the fuck is Ciryl Gane? To the casual, people hear Jon Jones is fighting. Oh, let me go look this guy up and see what he's been doing. Oh, he looks pretty good. And I'm really hoping Father Time has caught up with Jon Jones. I really, really, really hope so. Unfortunately, I see the politicking being the main deciding factor of this fight. If he can survive Ciryl Gane for the first couple rounds, it's Jon Jones's fight. Pretty much no matter what happens. You'll see some crooked ass fucking cards. You'll see all sorts of shenanigans and bullshit. We'll all be sitting around flipping off our TVs, you know, taking a shit on the coffee table in protest, doing all sorts of stuff. You know, anything we can vent the rage that will occur. But yeah, unless there's a flash finish in the first couple rounds, Jon Jones is going to win this, and it'll be by decision.
Interesting indeed. So, Galti, that brings us back over to the other side of the octagon, as it were here. Bones Jones versus Bongamin for the undisputed heavyweight title of the UFC, taking place to close out the show Saturday evening. How do you see it playing out, sir?
You know, I'm kind of in line. I would like to see Ciryl Gane beat Jon Jones, just so the possibility is there that we can be done with Jon Jones. Don't get me wrong. What he did prior to all of his fuckery was great for the sport. But there was quite a few years of fuckery in there that put some black eyes on the sport, as I'll say, as a whole. And it really does. Whether people believe it or not, what you do outside of the sport matters. But I have a hard time seeing that happen for a couple reasons. One, as I mentioned when I was talking about the odds, I don't think they've taken into account Jones's wrestling ability into this, because he's a much better wrestler than fucking Francis Ngannou is by a long shot. Two, the camp he's with and the training partners he's had lately are looking pretty solid. I'm just saying, you got Walt Harris in there, you got Green. You got a pretty good fucking solid team of partners to train with over there. And a lot of those guys don't fuck up outside the UFC. So maybe that's keeping him on track. He also took a little time and went and trained with a person that I really fucking hate, but I admire as the way he trains and gets ready for fights. He went and trained with fucking the same guy that who else is training with currently? Mighty Mouse. You guys all know who I'm talking about. Triple C, Henry Cejudo. Fuck that guy. I hate him, but I respect the way he works, the way he breaks shit down, his work ethic towards the sport. So yeah, Jones has made some correct adjustments. Gane is just an absolute killer. He's one of the fastest guys we've ever seen at fucking heavyweight, as far as quickness and foot speed and just getting around the ring. Even his strikes are quick. But I don't know that he's going to be able to handle the wrestling pressure of Jon Jones. Everybody thinks it's going to be a stand-up. I don't think so. I think Jones will strike with him at first, but he's going to go in there, use his grappling, because he knows where the chink in the armor is. And we've already seen it. If you get out wrestled by Francis Ngannou, who is not a known wrestler, that shows there's a chink in the armor. Don't get me wrong. Francis Ngannou's fucking wrestling looked great against Ciryl Gane. But it was Ciryl Gane, because Ciryl Gane, another stand-up fighter. I'm just saying, you can shine a turd, make it look really good, but it's still a fucking turd. Same concept here with this wrestling. I don't know that he's had time to in wrestling enough to deal with Lacey Jones, who has before put down great high-level wrestlers. DC, for example, made the takedown, made it a point to out-wrestle him, and he did. So to be honest, I see Jones taking this, but it's not going to be with his striking. It's going to be with grappling. Then he will ground and pound him out. And I don't think he'll get the finish either, because fucking Francis couldn't get the finish, and he's got some nasty ground and pound. I think we're going to see a decision victory, but it's going to be on the ground. I think we're going to see Ciryl Gane get wrestle-fucked again, and it's going to end up being unanimous. I think it really comes down to that. Just that. And hell, even just a small little look at the Embedded series lately, where you see Ciryl Gane kind of more relaxing, playing video games. Jones is in fucking fight mode. Jones is a scary dude in fight mode. And I get it. Gane's a different kind of human being, but Jones in fight mode's a scary fucking man. Don't like him outside of the UFC unless he somehow magically changes his persona, which that shit just doesn't happen. He's still a great fucking fighter. It's going to be Jones. He's going to out-wrestle him. Mark my fucking words. You will see him wrestle fuck this shit out of Ciryl Gane. He may not finish him with ground and pound, but he will fucking out-wrestle him, and that's where the job will be done.
I can definitely see that. Yeah. And Ngannou just isn't a wrestler. He might have learned a couple of wrestling techniques, but he's not a wrestler. And the fact that he was able to put Gane on his back is definitely a problem when you look at somebody who was able to do what he did, like John Jones in light heavyweight, and then you stack some fucking extra weight on top of him. I can absolutely see that being problematic for damn sure.
I hope I hope John Jones goes for a double leg and tears both his fucking ACLs.
Well, I'm going to have to agree with Golf T on this one. I do believe Ciryl Gane has the ability, but his wrestling does require work, and I don't want to see that kind of fight, but I think we're going to see that kind of fight.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree as well. I like Fresh said, I would love nothing more than to see Ciryl Gane come out there and fucking Superman punch right out of the fucking opening and then just fucking walk off like that fucking opening scene in the Battle of Troy. Fucking Brad Pitt, that motherfucker, just be done and fucking let Bo Agrius' big dumb ass fall to the fucking floor and be over. Unfortunately, that's probably not what's gonna happen as much as I would
going off the side of the cage before they even call it.
Right. I would giggle like a little girl, and you would probably have to institutionalize me, but it would be worth it. That being said, though, if you are keeping up and if you are able to match, that does mean that we are all tied up here in 4 rounds, meaning that we now go to the winner take all sudden death round 5 question. And as you know, if you've been following along, round 5 has absolutely nothing to do with the events of the weekend. So Fresho 3, since it has been the longest since you have been here, I will give you the opportunity. You can either choose the order in which you and Golf T answer question 5, or you can choose the question that you two must answer.
Huh. Okay. I'll go first. Fuck it. Let's go.
Ooh.
Okay, so
Ooh.
Golf T, that means you're picking the question then. So 1 through 3, sir, which would you like from the Post-it notes of fate?
Let's go 3 since I called 3 for the co-main event.
Ratio 3.
That's
right.
Doomed
I
yourself from the start.
gotta do a little respect to my brother, that's all.
This is going to be a good one, I think, here. This is going to provide us with some entertainment, I do believe. So, Fresho 3, the question goes to you first, sir.
Sure.
What current fighter should be cut? No justification, no questions asked, no requirements, just what current roster fighter do you think deserves the axe?
I mean, since we're talking about this event, John Jones should have been gone a long time ago. Any activity that he gets up to outside of the ring, dude should be in prison right now. The only reason he's not is because of his notoriety and the little bit of money he's managed to save up to this point. Dude should be gone. He should have been gone from the UFC the first time he started fucking around. The second time he started fucking around, he should have been gone. The third time, the fourth time, the fifth time that this dude, hit and run on what was it? Fucking hit and runs on pregnant ladies, shooting guns in the middle of fucking downtown Albuquerque or wherever he was, somewhere in New Mexico while he was training, getting drunk as shit when he's not supposed to be drinking. This is parole violation. If it was any of us right here, we would have gone to jail. Whatever suspended sentence we would have had, we would have gone to jail. But because he has a name, because he does have a little bit of money at this point. He's probably got quite a bit of money at this point. Because he can just, even his endorsements should have been gone too. But like, the dude should have been gone. And, you know, I mean, I'll throw another name in there. Dana fucking White should have been gone as UFC president. He's not a fighter. He's currently employed by the UFC. Dude should have been fucking gone. You're gonna fucking backhand your wife in public with people recording this shit, and you're not gone. You're not out. Like, we've seen CEOs and all sorts of stuff go down for far less than that. But he's still around. None of this shit makes sense. And it's I mean, the UFC, I get it. He's done a lot, and he's the name, he's the face, he's the personality, he's the guy who goes out. Hi, Mrs. Meter. He's the guy who goes out and, you know, he does all the interviews, and he's the one out there hyping. He's the one stepping in the middle of the fighters like he could stop even the fucking greenest dude off the street at this point. It's you know, it's ridiculous that either of these guys is still employed. John Jones should be gone. John Jones should be in prison. He's a horrible fucking human being. He has yet to learn his lesson. When he's the UFC heavyweight champion, he's going to do something fucked up. It is guaranteed at this point that he's going to do something fucked up, and he's going to wind up having to vacate that title. You're just putting the belt on him because he's still a fucking name. He's still, unfortunately, one of the biggest names in the game. So this whole weekend, the whole hype session, everything that they've been doing, it's all leading up to John Jones getting the title. You know, I think John Jones is a little bit of an overrated wrestler. I don't. He's looked slow the last couple times. I think Cyril Gane is a quick enough fighter. He's a young enough fighter. That's all besides the point. I wanted to rebuttal TJ, but I'm an honorable man, and I will bring it up here when the point has already been awarded. But this guy is a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. He deserves to be gone. He should have been gone 5-6 times now for the things that he's pulled. He should be in prison. He's a horrible human being. There's other horrible human beings. He's the one I have the biggest fucking problem with, just because they're still putting everything on that they can onto him and running him around like he's God's gift of fucking fighting. He's not. He's not. At this point, he's overrated. He hasn't finished anybody in 5 years. He had to sit out the last 3 years because of his own bullshit. It's gonna happen again. It's a horrible decision. You want that immediate cash in instead of looking at the long term. You're hurting your company. So there's about 20 different reasons why John Jones should get cut, and one for why Dana White should get cut. So take or leave any of them. I don't care. I got to vent. That was fun.
I'll allow it. Very good points made across the board here. So that'll bring us back across the octagon, as it were. Golf T, that brings us to your final question of the evening, sir. What current fighter should be cut from the roster, snipped loose, free to roam wherever they may?
100% on board with Dana White. Fuck that guy. Slap women, you don't belong here. And with going with the Dana White thing, his whole power slap league, because if you're slapping women for promotion for your power slap league, get the fuck out of here. That can be dropped too. But as far as the fighter is concerned, I think time has ran its course. And I had to say, Derek the Black Beast Lewis. I love the Black Beast, but his time has come, his time has gone. We've seen a steady downward spiral, even with those angle shots showing that he was getting in shape when he was obviously not. He was using some of the Instagram trickery like all those broads do, making us think he was taking shit seriously. Look, I love him. He sells tickets, but he's been finished 3 fights in a row now. It's time for him to fucking go. He's no longer that guy that puts fear into anybody anymore. It's time. Every dog has its day. He had his. but it's time for the sun to set on fucking Derek Lewis so his balls will cool off and he doesn't have to take his shorts off in the middle of the octagon anymore. Send him packing. Let him go to BKFC. I would be perfectly all right with that. Dude wants to throw hands. That's a good place to do it. Go get in there with them heavyweights over there. Fuck yeah. UFC material anymore? Nah. His day is coming past. It's all over.
Interesting point indeed. I will say I can absolutely agree with both points. But before we award the final decision here, what do you gentlemen have to say over there? What do the brothers say?
All right, so we did a little deliberating here. We've been talking, and I can find some points to agree with both of you here from both of your answers. Derek Lewis is getting more on that old side. Hasn't had a great performance in a while. John Jones, piece of shit person, hasn't had a great performance in a while. I don't agree that either one of them should necessarily be cut. I'm disappointed in the both of you that neither one of you said Angela fucking Hill. What the hell's going on here? This stupid bitch getting a fight with Kinsey Dern. What the fucking hell's going on here?
Hey, low-hanging fruit, man. That's low-hanging fruit.
She carried that division during the pandemic. She's still got a couple of years left on just fucking skating by.
Oh, so I got a couple of years of hate in my life. I might shoot myself in the head first. But we got to pick a winner here.
Your foot first.
It's not about my personal life. This isn't about my personal life. This is about who's going to win. So the one that takes the edge here after our deliberate is Golf Tee. And it's literally, you both said Dana White, right? But the edge was the slap league.
Yeah.
Cutting the slap league, that's what edges it for Golf Tee. Because I don't agree with cutting John Jones or Derek Lewis just because of how much of an attraction they were. If I was to run the business, right, I wouldn't that's how I'm thinking of it. That's how we talk about it. I wouldn't cut John Jones or Derek because they're too big of a draw. The personalities and everything behind them, they are good fighters. They could produce good fights. So it's like me as a promoter, got to keep them around, right? And I wish I was sitting here, I muted it. I literally told Vincent, either one of them says Angela Hill, automatic win. You both missed it. But the slap league, for sure, has to get cut out, just like Dana White. And Golf Tee, you mentioned the slap league, so that's what edges it out.
I can understand that as well. I will say I do agree. Both of you made the point to mention Dana White because fuck Dana White, and that is definitely the best valid point across the board here. I do agree with both points. I can absolutely agree that Derek Lewis at this point would probably realistically be better suited for BKFC, both financially and career-wise. On the other side of that coin, though, we shouldn't be having to talk about John Jones this weekend. Realistically, any one of the dozens of things he's done should and realistically could and realistically should have wound him up in prison, not local fucking jail, not on parole, not back in the UFC. Unfortunately, I am going to have to disagree with the brothers here. I am going to have to award the final point in the winner take all round here to Fresh 03. I do agree that Derek is washed, but the fact that Dana White not only did the same thing that John Jones did, but condemned John Jones for it, and then did it, and then welcomed John Jones back and refused to step down himself, double fuck you, Dana White. So I absolutely wholeheartedly agree, and I am going to give the round and the match to Fresh 03.
Ooh, there's some contingency in the judging here. What the fuck, man?
Oh yeah, he's gonna be mad. Let's Golf Team. He's done fucked it all. It's a slap league, man.
We got fucking Meter playing Sal Diamato over here, fucking up the cards.
Right? He's got Meter's got Dana White in his ear.
Now, unlike Sal Diamato, I will actually justify my scorecard here. Reason I gave the points across the other way is that I view the slap league very much like a certain other boxer who we had to involve the commission to not be on the show anymore. Whereas I thought we had evolved as a group to the point where we wouldn't need to mention things like the slap fight unless we were talking about how there are already senators petitioning TBS to have that shit removed from television altogether. So while I do acknowledge that it is a valid point, I also thought that there were much better points that could have been made. Fuck Sal Diamato as well. That being said, gentlemen, both of you, well played. The brothers Slow Bake, thank you very much for your assistance in group judging this evening. I appreciate all of you gentlemen for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we have got for an episode this evening. If you like what we get up to around here, Thursday nights, 9:30-ish Central Standard Time, youtube.com/ImNoJoe. We do it live every week. There is an opportunity for us to do so. The following week after, anchor.fm/ImNoJoe. That podcast goes up in all audio format for your podcast consumption platform of choice taken in. If you'd like to help what we do around here, patreon.com/ImNoJoe is the best way to do that. For as little as $1 a month, you get your name as a thank you on the end of every broadcast that goes across this channel, and you get access to unaired and literally unairable content, things that we by law had to paywall and make sure you're 18 or over to be able to see. That being said, on the other side of the coin, if you don't like what you, 5 words. If you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast you didn't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said,
I won't even say go fuck yourself. I'll say come on back.
Well, that too.
Welcome. We welcome your hate.
That being said, though, this is not the end. Though we finish the show, this is not the end of all good things, because tomorrow, much like every Friday morning over on Spreaker.com/slowbake and contemplate, the brothers Slowbake right there themselves take over their own podcast first thing in the morning. Links down in the doobly-doo to get a hold of that, or either one of their social medias if you want to get a hold of them as well.
Much love, much appreciated. And then, of course, in the middle of the week before we get going on this podcast, or the start of the week, however you want to look at it, right? This shit just keeps on going. You got the Brother Golf Team. Make sure you follow him on all his socials, YouTube, Instagram, all that Golf Team Vapes. And Wednesday night, about 9:30, same time as this fucking show, right before we do this show, you got to tune in. The foggy fairway, You gotta tune in if you want to learn how to mix up some nice recipes, if you enjoy vapes, if you just want to chill and have a good time. Make sure you tune in and support the brother.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to pull a double header here because we've got an extra face in the crowd tonight. If you're bored on a Saturday afternoon, go down and check out Fresh 03's channel over on YouTube. It's a good time. Do some mixing. Where do you think I learned to mix from? Fresh 03. That's why he has his own flavor. Whipped cream Fresh 03. Just how that goes. Over at youtube.com/fresh03. Usually noon Central Time. Every Saturday. Or Saturdays that he's available.
Nearly every Saturday.
Nearly every Saturday. That's how that works.
Unless I'm getting a tattoo. Then
so ink's a little more important some days.
that's when you can get in, when you can get an appointment.
That's right. Also, if you want to know what the meter does outside of Kiki Punchies, you can go down below, click on the link, which ironically, Linktree / the meter does many things, to find out all the things that the meter does, because there are many. So click on both of those links. Fresh's Instagram is also below as well. So go click away. Enjoy.
I don't put a lot up there, but we do have something coming up next week. Next week we got the finals of the Wonder Shot. So anybody that submitted a recipe to Wonder Flavors, they have all been mixed, and they are currently in their steeping phase, and then we'll be doing the finale over on my channel next Friday. So
Nice.
Winners, there's going to be the top 3 get $200 a piece. So pretty good. pretty good take home for, putting a little bit of research into a recipe.
Hell yeah.
Very nice.
Thanks for the shout out, Golf T.
Absolutely. I was going to give it, but Golf T got it in the way there. But yes, thank you, gentlemen, all for your time this evening. All of the links for everybody involved is down below, as well as scrolling across the bottom of the screen here, if you may have noticed during the show, is the link to the ImNoJo Discord server, where we have channels for all things punchy kicky news that doesn't make it to the show, segments for questions that viewers may have. You can drop them over there, as well as get a hold of any of us. Words are live, hard sometimes. Also, Slow Bake and Contemplate brothers have their very own channel over on the ImNoJo server. Come talk some shit, kick it around, learn some things, have a good time. All the links are down in the doobly-doo. But that's all we've got for this particular episode. We thank you again for tuning in and catching us live or replay, however you consume it. We appreciate it. That being said, that's all we've got for this particular episode. So remember, boys and girls, until next time, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. She really thought that grand jury wasn't coming back after your dumbass, you orange fuck.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.